And then now that I see that the clock is indeed ticking, that allows me to say, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to your Liberty Radio. Welcome back on a Friday night in covidland. You know what that means. It's time to find out what's on your mind. It's Friday night open lines. It is your chance to be a part of Liberty Radio and part of the time capsule that we started almost 3 years ago now, to make sure that at least some record of the insanity of this decade survives for future generations. Hopefully. We'll see. We'll see. The sun kind of has the final word on that, so, there's only so much that's in our control, but as long as we can, we will keep the cameras rolling. Let's see. Look at that. I'm already for vacay, ladies and gentlemen. Honestly, I am. I'm feeling it. I'm ready to go. I am ready for the federally mandated glorious holiday. I really am. But for now, it is Friday night. It is Friday night, August 30th. As a matter of fact, 2024, year of our clownishness. And that means it is your chance to be a part of Liberty Radio. Call us up. Let us know what is on your mind tonight. Good Lord. There was quite a bit that happened in covidland this week, wasn't there? Especially once the whole Mercury retrograde situation got resolved on, I think it was like Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, something like that. So this is how it works. The link to dial into the stream is in the Liberty Radio Telegram channel. If you need a link to get there, well, that's down in the show description. Otherwise, it's t.me/GTW Liberty Radio. It's pretty easy. Again, t.me/GTW Liberty Radio. That little entry that says phone lines are open, that's the link. It gets you into the stream. It gets you on the air to talk to me and whoever else is hanging out when you call in. You do not have to turn on your camera if you are a shy person. We understand that. Covidland has done a number on all of us, ladies and gentlemen. I dare say that there is not a single individual walking around in the United States right now that does not have at least a touch of mental illness at this point. From the barrage that we have suffered through this last 4 years. And that is a known effect of continued and sustained psychological warfare. These people know exactly what they are doing. Make no mistake about it. They know exactly the type of environment that they're trying to create. And it seems like they're doing a pretty damn good job to me. Now, there are also, I understand people have concerns about biometrics getting captured, and that's why they don't like to turn on their camera. Whatever your reason is, doesn't matter. It's fine. We don't care. Honestly, I don't know if you noticed by the title of the show, it's Liberty Radio. So we never planned for there to be an actual visual component of this whole thing. That's just kind of an afterthought. It's thrown together at the last minute. And honestly, it looks like complete shit. So I don't know why people watch it anyway. But don't worry about turning on your camera. Nobody wants to see you. Nobody cares. It's radio. All we want to do is hear your voice. So you do have to turn on your microphone. Cannot stress that hard enough. Unmute harder, ladies and gentlemen. But the phone lines are officially open. that means we wanna find out what you guys want to talk about. You know, we've been hearing everything that's been going on all week. We keep our ear to the grindstone, which is quite painful most of the time. So, we know what all the scuttlebutt is going around. We want to know what you guys think about the latest developments in covidland, and or maybe you've had a frustrating week in covidland, and you just want to go off about something, something that is just bugging the shit out of you, and you're perfectly justified in doing so. That's what open lines is for. We're not here to judge. We're just here to listen and potentially help, if at all possible. One of the many services that we provide here at Your Liberty Radio. Yes, death to tyrants. Mercury did go full retrotard this time. And I think that was on purpose because, again, the Democratic National Convention took place start to finish the entire time when Mercury was retrotarded. Like, that should tell you something, folks. Like, it's not even that something ain't right anymore. Like, shit's just all fucked up. Like, why would they plan their big convention for that time if they wanted it to succeed? It's almost doomed to failure by having it take place when the aspects are in that condition, if you listen to the astrologers. Otherwise, if you don't listen to the astrologers, it doesn't matter. You can have it whenever the fuck you want. You know? Well, it appears that we do have our first caller on the line this evening. How you doing, Truth Bear?
Very good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. What's on your
Right
mind
on.
tonight?
I just I mentioned in the chat prior before that I just got off the chat line with the third rail. Man, that was a great show.
Oh yeah.
All those ladies on there. Yeah, with Nature Boy, Dave, and he had Courtney on there, Monica, and Miriam. And man, it was a great show. So I'm just stoked off of that. I'm still high off of that.
Awesome. So what was one of the highlights that stuck out to you? What do you remember most?
So they talked. I mean, so for one thing, Courtney, she's very smart, and she's able to retain all this information. And I've seen her on many shows, and specifically when I watch her on Jay Dyer, and she's one of those people, just like Jay Dyer, just like Richard Grove. They can retain information that blows my mind. Like I read books when I get books, I try to buy them, I try to listen to them, I try to read them. I try to digest the information, but sometimes it just becomes so overwhelming that it's like, wow, it's just a lot of information. And she's very well able to articulate a lot of that stuff, and blows my mind.
Hmm.
Loved it. So if you haven't listened to that show, go back and listen to it because great information. But basically, they're talking about a lot of the Tavistock
Mm.
mind control stuff,
Hmm.
Milner Fabian conspiracy stuff, how they play the long game. Basically, whatever we're seeing right now in 2024,
Hmm.
people could be thinking that, wow, this is novel to me. This I've never heard about this before, of politics being so corrupt, of all these things, but yet they've written about this stuff for hundreds of years. And that's one thing that I mentioned on that in that chat was that is that we're seeing this stuff now in 2024, but they've written about this stuff for hundreds of years.
Hmm.
They play the long game. Back 100 years ago, when they were saying these things, Edward Bernays, um, uh, um, and all of these guys talking about how propaganda was going to control the mass media,
Mm-hmm.
we couldn't see it then. The protocols of the Zion of the protocol of the Zionists, the
Right.
and
Protocols
all
of
the
the
things that
elders.
the elders of Zion, we couldn't see what they were talking about back then. We can see it now, 100%. That was amazing.
Well,
I
I
thought, wow.
think I don't know. I struggle with that because again,
Okay.
all the information that we have about history is
Yeah.
indirect knowledge. So
Okay. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
you still kind of have to play that game with history of I have to piece it together, but I can't really trust the pieces that I'm using, you know? So you can
Yeah.
kind
Okay.
of get a good idea, but you can't ever really be completely sure one way or the other about anything.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
have to think, especially because of the fact that the first political party that ever formed in the United States of America, again, according to the historians, is the anti-Masonic Party, right? And that was
Oh,
in
really?
like, yeah, that was in, I
Wow.
want to say it was like the 1820s. It might have been earlier than that. I
Wow.
might have that date wrong. But what that tells me is even at that time, some 200 years ago now, people
Hmm.
were aware that there was uh, uh, there was like an invisible hand, right? Exerting influence over the course of events.
Yes.
So,
Hmm. Yeah. Like them, like you just mentioned, them warning us about the invisible hand, and how many presidents warned us about this invisible hand coming to play. I don't think at the time those people in the 50s correct me if I'm wrong, but it could be Eisenhower
mhm.
and Kennedy. Um, you know, I wasn't alive when Kennedy was there, but back in those days, how much would they have known to interpret their cryptic message? Because let's look back now. It was cryptic. Like, they weren't just coming out and saying these are these guys you need to watch out for. They were saying, hey, there's going to be something that you guys need to be careful about.
Yeah,
That's cryptic.
I
Now it's just like, pfft,
see.
here they are.
My hang up with all of that stuff is I cannot separate the message from the messenger, right? The warning about the military industrial complex that Eisenhower gave upon leaving
Yeah.
office, he was Supreme Allied Commander of NATO. He
Yeah.
was the
Yeah.
military industrial complex.
True.
So why the
True.
hell is he warning us about himself? That's never set right
Ah.
with me. The whole thing with Kennedy, and again, I'm not trying to besmirch the man, never met him.
Yeah.
He died a good 10 years before I was born, so I never had a chance to know him personally. Everything I
Hmm.
know about him is indirect knowledge, but what I do know about his family is they are a connected Anglo establishment family.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
again,
I
how
mean,
much is he really working for the common American person?
man, that's something that I've been struggling to kind of answer some of that stuff, because you have these individuals, right? Eisenhower and Kennedy, and it seemed like they're doing good things, but then they tell us these things about the truth of the reality of what we're experiencing now, and it's like, are they playing this good part? Are they, because here's an example, maybe to simplify it a little bit more, where Trump is he's talking about the deep state, and Trump has got a big following, and he's like warning people about the deep state. And is there a deep state? Yes, there truly is, but not how he's talking about it. He's saying stuff where because in my opinion, I believe that he's part of the deep state. So he's warning us about, it's almost like a deflection, almost like a deflection. He's telling us, watch out for this, but it's over here. not where I'm at, where the true deep state is working. And so maybe that's some, maybe there's some truth to what you're saying about Eisenhower and with Kennedy, that they were all a part of it. Maybe they're recognizing that they're coming to their end, and they're just like throwing this out there, like, hey, I'm warning you, it's there.
I don't know,
Maybe.
man. I don't
What's your
know.
thoughts?
It's hard to know. It's
Yeah.
really difficult to for me anyway. It's hard for me to place belief in much of anything at this point.
True.
Because
Yeah.
the one thing that I think I've finally figured out is belief is what more often than not ends up getting you in trouble, right? Because
Okay.
belief is essentially a placeholder for evidence. Belief is what you offer to something that you want to be true
Yeah.
when you can't actually prove that it is. So it's a very dangerous proposition the moment that you make it.
Well, in you saying that, that's one of the things that I really love, and I mentioned this guy before, Crow 777.
Mhm.
And the beginning of his shows, he says, um, uh, "Belief is the enemy of knowing."
Yeah.
And
But it's
and
the
I think there's
opposite.
there's a lot.
If you don't know something but you want it to be true, the only thing you can do is believe that it is.
Believe it, yeah, believe it. But maybe I said that wrong. But basically that, like, your belief, just your belief is, it's not going to help you. You have to know. You have to
Right.
know these things. Yeah.
I mean, it's when you really look at it. So, because this is again something that I've been rolling around inside my own head for, I would say, a good 5 years now. As
Okay.
I've been a student of human nature pretty much my entire life, especially human psychology. Just fascinates me endlessly. Um,
Yeah.
but I've really like zeroed in on this concept of belief over the course of the last 5 years or so, and have been trying to deconstruct it as best I possibly can.
Mm.
Um, and it's an incredibly powerful human ability is the best way that I can describe it, because think about it. What is it that if we remove the monopoly on violence that the state obviously has, right? What else is it that keeps them going? What is it that keeps the economy going? What is it that keeps religions going?
Mm.
What is it that keeps nationalism going? What is it that keeps communism going? The answer to all these questions is belief. It's the people who believe in it. That belief equals power to
Yeah.
that ideology, whatever it is, and that causes physical manifestations
Okay.
in our shared reality.
Okay. Yeah. And here might be a great example of that. We're talking about belief versus knowing, right? That's what we're talking about right now. And like many, I have many Christian friends, and they are all in support of Israel.
Hmm.
And it's just like, wait a minute. Okay, your belief in this text saying that Israel is the chosen, God's gonna redeem them. There's a place for them. They play a part in the second coming, whatever. Um, they hold on to that, and you're like, hey, wait a minute. This nation state that's supposedly called Israel over here is doing some really bad things, and it's like they will shut down, they will defriend, they'll annex you, for saying those kind of things, and it's just like their belief has clouded the mind of them truly knowing, and
Mhm.
just yeah.
No, keep going. I was just agreeing
Uh,
with you.
yeah. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest things that we're dealing with right now, because I think we all kind of get it. Like, the politics right now, it's all a big joke. Like Biden, Kamala, and Trump, and all these guys, that's kind of a big joke. But if this atrocity is continuing to go on with with the Palestinian people, like, it breaks my heart because well, the way we view things now is that we got to support Israel at all costs. And Trump saying that coming in and he's gonna do all these things for Israel, and you're like, wait a minute, man, like, are these things not happening? Like, that's it's a really big deal, I think, right now. I think we can see through that, but that's one of the things that I think it's hard for most, because let me just say, maybe wrong on this, but the United States as a whole is mostly conservative Christian, and they don't
Or
want to let go of that.
that's what it had always been up until they
Yeah.
decided to make everything go topsy-turvy. I don't know if that still applies or not. But the problem is nobody's going to find out and tell us. Like nobody's going to do a poll, you know, and try to hit as many Americans as possible to get an actual real representation. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So we don't really know anymore. That was, I agree with you. That was the image of America that we were given growing up, that we were a Christian conservative nation.
Yeah.
That kind of got detached from reality with the W administration.
Yes. I'll agree. So, and even so, like, not so. You said Christian conservative, and maybe people were gonna, maybe they won't identify as Christian, but they'll identify as conservative and moral. Okay. And so that kind of just got lopped onto what was supposedly Christianity, which is supposed to be about forgiveness, about redemption, um, and goodness towards all mankind.
Mm-hmm.
But we know how
Serving
that
your fellow
got.
man. Yeah.
Yeah, we know how that got all messed up. So even just to identify as conservative, meaning like, hey, conserve, and then morals, like, hey, do the right thing. We were all based on that, and now it's like you said, like, what are we now? I don't know. I
I'm
don't
not
know.
quite sure.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
again, I'm not buying the whole grassroots groundswell support for Kamala. I'm really not. I'm not buying it at
No
all.
way.
I
No
saw
way.
the pictures from the DNC. Hey, it looked impressive, man. Looked very impressive. Looked like there were a lot of people there. I didn't inspect it real close to make sure that those were all actual live human beings and that it wasn't some fuckery going on.
Yeah.
But I would expect nothing less at this point. Shit, there was a story that I saw, I want to say like yesterday or maybe the day before, where it was discovered that a bunch of memes that had been distributed out to the various social ghettos on the interwebs that were making fun of Kamala and whoever else at the Democratic convention, that they were terrible memes too, by the way. They were absolutely awful, AI generated and all sorts of shit. It turns out that the memes were actually generated by DNC operatives to try and smear the other side.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. It's I try. You know what, Driz. I mean, like, I try to not beat myself over the head with some of this stuff because
Mm.
I see it coming. And we can all. I know that this probably doesn't affect most of the audiences and people who subscribe to these channels and whatnot. That they recognize the facade, but the hard thing is that it breaks my heart because there are so many, and I think this is probably within the whole community, is that they have loved ones that just cannot see it,
Yeah.
and so you can say, well, hey man, just keep that to yourself, come and just hang out, and but as soon as the conversation goes, it goes in one direction or another, and it all leads back to the same thing.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, is they'll tell you just, we just don't have to talk about it.
Yeah.
And then they'll start talking politics with somebody else right in front of you.
Yeah.
Knowing that you just had the
Oh,
conversation
absolutely.
of where you're like, look, this is all just a big fucking sham. Don't you see it?
Yep.
Again, it's the cognitive dissonance, right? It's the indoctrination that we all
Yeah.
went through where it installed
Yeah.
faulty software in our brains.
Yeah.
Some people don't understand that that's what government school was all about.
Yeah.
It was about making sure that your brain doesn't work properly, ladies and gentlemen. It's not about getting you educated.
Yeah.
That's just the euphemism.
Yep. Yep.
Because when you get right down to it, the system of public education that we have in the United States is the Prussian education model, which was brought over from that country, which existed at the time. It was called Prussia. We now call it Germany. It was the Bavarian section, Alsace-Lorraine, and all of that. They brought it over here the end of the 1800s, beginning of the 1900s. John Dewey and who was the other dude? I can't remember his name. But they got it all installed and set up. The Rockefellers funded it because John D. Rockefeller wanted to make sure that he had a sizable enough labor force to work in his factories.
Workers, not thinkers.
Correct.
Yeah.
But yet people, they go to college for 4 years. They get themselves in debt, several $100,000 for a piece of paper and think they're smart.
Absolutely. And thinking about this, like, so I've mentioned this before, I'm not on this channel, but I've mentioned this before. And many of you, hopefully you know this, the trivium and quadrivium, okay? The 7 classical liberal arts. Now, I'll admittedly, up until 3 years ago, well, maybe 2 years ago, I didn't know that. I'm 50 now, so I didn't know that up until my late 40s. And thinking about
same here.
What is the 7 classical liberal arts? Well, when you think about them, and if you look this up on the Wikipedia, it'll tell you it's the 7 classical liberal arts that will make a man free, right? Okay. And in the beginning of those three,
it's what you learn from a classic liberal education.
Yes.
Which we don't have and have not had as long as we've been alive.
Yes. And so when we moved away from the 7 classical liberal arts, the trivium and the quadrivium, the trivium being how man communicates between men and how humans operate, and then the quadrivium being how nature speaks to us. And that's what makes the perfect 7. There's 7 in all kinds of, ancient cultures, the number 7, but
it's the
7,
God
right?
number. 7 is the God number.
Yep. And so when they took us away from that and they started giving us just subjects, boom, here's a subject, here's a subject, here's sociology, here's science, here's math, here's reading, here's literature, and they broke it all up. They teach just the subject. They don't teach the trivium and the quadrivium, because you need those in order to go into the knowledge of the sciences, the sociological, political discussions. You have to have the basic of the trivium to get into those conversations, and they don't teach that. So kids are just taught information, boom, 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 but they got no logic.
Correct. That's exactly what was removed.
Yes.
From schooling in order to turn it into government education.
Yeah, the government.
Because remember, before the changeover happened at the turn of the century, you had the one-room schoolhouses all over the country. Like they were, it wasn't just in the frontier as they were trying to get my generation to believe with shows like Little House on the Prairie. Oh, that was the people out, settling the land. That wasn't the folks, the rich folks back on the East. No, it was everybody, because that was how schooling was done, because you had much smaller communities.
Yeah. So I'm gonna quote a movie, and this is a great movie. If you guys want to watch a movie on the end of the Civil War, it's called Ride with the Devil, and Tobey Maguire's in it. He was the Spider-Man guy.
I think I might have seen that.
Skeech Ulrich is in there. Jewel is in there. It's a phenomenal.
I probably did see it.
Phenomenal movie. But one of the things that happens is that, so they're fighting for the South, and they're Jayhawkers, and so they're fighting for the South, and they go to a South plantation to have dinner with one of the plantationers. And one of the things that he says in there, he says, now, and I do not condone slavery in any way, okay? But he was a Southerner, and one of the things that he said, and he's talking about his problems to Skeech Ulrich and Tobey Maguire, and he's saying, the big problem is when they brought those schoolhouses in. When they brought the schoolhouses in, and they told us to teach our children one way of thinking. He says something along those lines, but he blames all of the problems of what was going on was when they brought the schoolhouses in. He says that in the movie.
Yep.
The indoctrination classroom.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, especially once feminism was unleashed onto the United States, and to a lesser extent the rest of the world.
Thank you, Bernays. Thank you, Ed Bernays.
And you had mothers leaving home and entering the workforce.
Yes.
Effectively making the school the most prominent presence in the children's lives.
Yes.
It was kind of all over at that point. And now we're, what, 3-4 generations removed from that point?
Yeah. And taking the ability of the parents, let's just say the parents, okay? And it's generational, okay? It comes generational. Is it now you got parents that are parenting children that think that they can't teach their children. They don't know how to teach their children. Well, I don't know what to teach my kid as he's growing up, from what grade to what grade, and what subjects to teach at a certain, so that was all taken from them. And so it's almost like they have to put their kids in school. Unless if I don't put my kid in school, he's not going to learn math. He's not going to learn literature or reading. I don't know how to teach this. You do it. That's what they've done.
Yeah. I mean, math and reading are important. I'm not going to say that they're not. But honestly, the amount of math that I went through in school has been, it remains to this date, disproportionate to my use of mathematics in the rest of my life.
Absolutely.
Because it was required every single year when I was in school, to the point where I think I was almost going to be put in like calculus or something my senior year. It was ridiculous. And I couldn't stand it. Once we got to like algebra, I couldn't fucking stand it anymore.
It becomes hypothetical, and you can make it work. Numbers work. But it becomes hypothetical, because what do we actually observe in nature, and what do we observe in our daily lives? I once told a friend, we were talking about schooling and stuff, and I said, hey, man, I said, the only thing I'd want my school to teach my children is how to read, write, and do math. After that, I'll teach them everything else.
That's right, the 3 R's.
I don't need them. Yeah, I don't need them to teach them stuff about life. I'll teach them that. I just need them to teach them how to read, how to write, how to multiply and subtract numbers, and and addition.
Right.
And that's it.
And definitely how to count money.
Good
Lord, man, I have never, like the last 10 years, the amount of people that I have encountered that have trouble counting money is just unreal. Absolutely unreal.
Well, you know, like I listen to T-Lav and Whitney Webb and stuff, and so I know about the Slurry report, and so I do that. I try to do cash as much as possible, and I'll have coins, pennies, nickels, dimes, and I'll go to a counter and I'm sorry, but I gotta bust my coins out on you, and we count it all out, and that's what I try to teach my kids, because I try to use the physical cash or even just money to get the value for value, I guess. Yeah.
I do it. I prefer to use cash whenever possible because they don't want me to. That's exactly why I do it.
Yeah.
Whatever behavior it is that they're trying to condition me into, I'm immediately going to go in the opposite direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm that much of an asshole now.
Yeah.
Like as soon as I figure it out, I'm just like, oh no, 180 degrees the other way, full speed ahead.
Yeah. Same here. So they've made internet banking so easy as to where you can just type in your credit card and pay bills, and I use it for that. It's great. Great for that. But when I go to the counter, when I go to a store, I whip out my I don't have a wallet. I got a money clip, but I whip out my money clip and I got my change and I'm ready to go. When I physically go to a store, I'm using cash. Most of the time, unless I get a big purchase, like when I go to Home Depot and stuff, and I got to buy like $500 of wood, then I'll use the card. But
yeah. I'm just wondering how much longer we're actually going to have full human to human interaction at the store, because it is already scheduled for obsolescence, right?
Yeah,
there's going to come a point where there is going to be, if there is another human that you're interacting with in the purchasing process, there's going to be a barrier between you and them, and that barrier is going to be technology.
Yeah. Well, there's so when I go to these home stores, like Home Depot or Lowe's or something, one thing I really love is that when you're walking through an aisle and you're just kind of looking around, is that an employee will come up and he'll say, "Hey, what are you looking for?" And you can say, "Oh, I'm looking for this," and they'll be like, "Oh no, it's in this." And so I love that. I love that because they know the store. I can communicate to them personally. Um, but when you go to Walmart, you go like, oh, I'm gonna go to buy this, and I grab that, and I go to the automated. I don't need a person there. I just scan my thing and pay my card, and I'm out. Like, it's a different. It's like in and out. But when you go to these stores and people are telling you, hey, can I help you? I was in actually when I went to the Third Eye Carnival. When I went to the Third Eye Carnival, I went to a liquor store, and I went to go see a buddy because he also lives in Denver. I was going to go buy him some wine, and I'm not a very big wine person. So I went to this liquor store, and it was a really nice one. And when I went in, there was employees all over the place. And I asked this one lady that came up, she says, "Oh, what are you looking for?" And I said, "Oh, I'm looking for a wine for my friend and his wife. I don't really know how they drink and stuff." She's like, "Oh, well, this one and this one." And she had knowledge of all of these different brands of wines, and I was just like, wow, awesome. Like I felt I felt good. I felt good,
Yeah. Well, I mean, whenever I go out into a store, usually, unless I know exactly what it is that I'm looking for, which is rare, like I want somebody knowledgeable to talk to.
Yes.
I understand that there is a psychological complex called false consensus that exists where an individual believes that most other people think and act like they do, and it's actually not. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I hate to spoil people's parade out there. This might be the first time that they're finding out about this. Nobody else in the world thinks like you do, folks.
Yeah.
But I would imagine that most other people are the same way when it comes to that. Like if I'm going into a store and I have an idea of what I need, but I don't know exactly what I'm looking for, I want to have somebody to talk to who actually knows what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's that human connection. Like we can all have disagreements with certain peoples, or we can be in certain moods and at some point in time. But on the base of it, when another human is interaction with another human, and it's just like, hey, helping, asking questions, conversation, like it feels great. It feels great. And I know that, again, I know that sometimes human interactions cannot be so pleasant, but when you go to a store, or you just at ease, and you go and you just talk to another person, there's nothing like talking to another person.
Yeah. And it's not even like what we're doing right now is not even the same thing as being
Yeah,
face to face with another human being and interacting with them in that space. Like
yeah,
it's this is like a very pale, shallow uh, facsimile of that
yeah,
experience. You know, very very
yeah,
flat.
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And I'll say this too, like, because you were at the Third Eye Carnival, and I
Yes,
was
sir.
there, and just meeting all the different peoples that. So I think at that time I wasn't too aware of you, so I didn't interact with you as much as I would have liked to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but those that I did know, I got to talk to all of them. Charlie Robinson. I got to talk to Steve. I
Yeah,
got to talk to Chris from Rantcast. And there's like, um, it was just a really good feeling to be in that location.
yeah.
All there. And Yona, I got to see Yona there.
Oh yeah,
I talked to
Yona
him a
was
little
all over
bit.
the place.
Yeah,
Hey
yeah.
Rob, you're feeding back a little bit. Are you on your phone?
Yeah, I'll cut myself out so I get back to
Okay,
not driving.
right on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I think me and Yona were talking about this last night. I can't remember if it was on the show or not. But the one thing that really stood out to me, other than half of the sky being on fire Friday night, I don't think I'll
Mm.
ever forget
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That was some of the wildest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Really cool. So
Oh,
what
dude.
were you? Where were you at in on the fourth?
On the 4th?
Yeah, because that was the night before, right? It was the fifth. So the
Where
night
were
before
we
was the
on the 4th? We stayed in Amarillo. So
okay, Amarillo.
we left Jasper on the morning of the 4th, stopped in
Oh, okay.
Amarillo,
So you
and
drove,
then,
okay? Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, the one thing, because again, I've been to a bunch of festivals, big ones, small ones,
Mm.
and all different sorts of events where strangers come together to experience the same experience.
Yeah.
Um, and the thing that really stood out to me, other than all of the quote unquote big names being incredibly accessible,
Yeah.
which is
Oh
not
yeah.
the normal from what I've
Yeah.
been used to, right?
Yeah.
From mainstream events and concerts and that type of stuff. Um, but there was no drama.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
was no drama. Nobody
Yeah.
freaked out. Nobody was like demanding more attention.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it it was wild, man. It was really wild.
Yes. Great community, and I think the second day, I actually got to go out with some peoples from the community to go see some of the sites there in Denver. It was awesome just to kind of just hang out with them, like for real, and talk with them. Myra was one of them. Um, so uh, like that being able to come together, like you said, it was so accessible. Like I could just walk up and talk to Chris, and we were just rapping for a long time about his daughter wanting to be a welder and stuff. And I was like, "Oh, cool, I'm a welder." So we were just talking about shit and talking with Steve and Charlie. Like it was so easy, and the atmosphere was just awesome. And I hope that if these things start to continue on, and even with maybe even meetups continue on, is would be just like that. That people would just come together. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think especially with something like Third Eye Carnival,
Yeah.
I can see the potential for growth there, right? Um,
Absolutely.
it,
Absolutely.
and again, all it took was going to one. That was it. And like I can see this taking off in major metropolitan areas all over the country. Maybe not right inside the city, maybe get to one of the cooler suburbs outside where you can, draw folks
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in 10 years I could see it going international even. You
That
know.
would be that would be awesome. Yeah.
But it's like
Yeah.
I think Steve was saying it either yesterday or the day before, sometime this week. Or maybe it was somebody else and I'm just attributing it to Steve. This is what we need. This is how we start to take back some of the power.
Yeah.
We create our own culture
Yeah.
to replace the toxic offerings that are given to us.
Yeah.
And there's no reason that we can't do it every bit as good as they do. Jesus, look at what Scott Armstrong just put out.
Yeah. That was awesome. I didn't know he was so musically inclined.
I mean, I do because he told me like a couple years ago he was working on it.
Damn, that guy's good. He's
Yeah.
got some good shit.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he is on a trajectory that most of the rest of us won't equal.
Yep.
Keep your eye on Scott Armstrong.
Yeah, and one of the things is Scott was so approachable at Third Eye Carnival.
Mm-hmm.
He and I talked for a long time.
Yeah, he freaked me the fuck out Friday night though.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I was tripping balls.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, Scott and I talked. I think it was Friday night and Saturday. But one thing that I love about Scott is he is so down to earth type of dude. You can just talk and he listens, and very conversative. I loved it. Shout out to Scott. Please get his album. If you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. It's awesome.
Yeah, rebunkedrecords.com is where you can find the album and the super cool Rebunked Records t-shirt that he was wearing. I'm going to get one of those.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I refuse to pay for the album because, radio station. We don't pay for music.
Yeah.
Yeah. But everybody else, you pay for the album.
Oh, yeah. Please support. Please support.
If I have to be a hypocrite about something, it's that.
Yeah.
I guess Rob's still en route. Let's see. So let's hash this out, right? Because I've been this has been on my mind lately, and especially going into next week. Well, I definitely need to make a decision on it because it has an expiration date. So, Twitter, which recently removed streaming from the non-paying accounts where they had previously had access to it, they have been dangling a discount offer in front of me for the last week. And it expires 5 days from now. It's a decent discount Because on the annual cost for their premium subscription, it's about 40%. You know,
Okay.
so it's a considerable discount.
Yeah.
It was big enough. It got my attention. Let's put it that way. It's still not from a principle standpoint. I still don't want to have to pay for the ability to stream to their platform.
Yeah.
But from a business perspective, the amount of the investment versus what it actually provides from a broadcasting standpoint, once the discount is applied, turns it into an acceptable deal.
Okay.
So I'm at a crossroads, right? Because I've spent the whole time just ridiculing mercilessly anybody who paid for a fucking check mark, right? Because the check mark is one of the things that comes with it. You know, the little badge that goes up on your handle, so everybody can see you're giving Elon money, or whatever he's trying to psyop people with. Because you know, some people still don't have to pay for it. He's got special rules as far as that's concerned.
Well, I don't know. Here's the thought, because so I'm not on social media at all. I have one Facebook account that's got a fake name, just so I can use it to buy marketplace stuff. So that's all I use it for. So I don't really go to Twitter or Instagram or any of these other social media websites. I get all of my information coming from Rockfin or from Rumble. So I go on the internet for it. I use my phone for it. And I guess there's that point where you got to play the game until you can't play it no more. If this is one of those, this is what I tell for myself. You know, like, 'cause I know I live here in Florida, and they're talking about going to the digital driver's license things. And it's just like, okay, well, let's see. They've been talking about it, but when they actually come out with the digital driver's license, what will I do? Okay, well, when it starts to ask me for my bio information and things like that, then that's going to be the hard no for me. Okay, at that point, I can't do this anymore. If it's just basic information, name, number, address, I can play with that. But if you want to take my bio information, you want to take this other, biometrics and stuff, then I can't play that game anymore. And then I'll come to that when I get there. So I guess what I'm saying is, however you're reaching the masses, that's a great thing. And if you can do it on these platforms, and if it's just a simple thing to where you can pay a little bit of money for it, okay, maybe do it. And if it doesn't pan out for you, then you can always abandon it later. But when they start to ask right off the bat your bio information and also the kind of personal information kind of stuff, like, that's when I would be like, yeah, that's my red line.
I mean, it's definitely something to consider.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still got time to kick it around, make a decision.
Yeah.
The thing is there is an audience on that platform that can be reached.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
If you know how to work the algorithm.
Yeah.
Even with all the shit that they have set up to suppress us and keep us away from the view of the general public, it is still possible to break through all of that stuff. It's not as easy as it used to be.
Yeah.
Shit. I mean, I remember, like, first year that I was really active on Twitter, which I think was like 2021, I was getting shit that was hitting like 50,000, 75,000, 100,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Hell yeah.
And then as time went by and they kept, turning the screws, like, yeah, I got 100 views on stuff now. Maybe 500 if I'm lucky. Shit, I get more views on TikTok than I do on Twitter. Yeah. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just amazing the way that with the shadow banning and all these other kind of things that they use, these tactics that they use to censor information on the internet. It's just amazing because, so let's just say on Facebook, and I've mentioned this before. I have a fake account on Facebook, but I get, because I'm doing things probably on the internet about NASA stuff and whatnot. So sometimes these NASA feeds come on my Facebook, and I'll comment on it, and they'll censor it. Man, I'll just say something that's like, fake, and they'll censor it, and they'll be like, "Oh, this was discounted from the chat or whatever," and because you violated rules. And then I'll say something different, and it'll say, "Oh, it's discounted from the chat rules or something." And then I'll say something kind of positive, and then it'll be boom, and it'll be accepted. It's this censorship.
It's that part of it. That's not censorship. Do you understand what they're doing with that whole process that you just described?
Well, other than censorship, so please tell me.
They're rewiring your brain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They are forcing you to use specific language, which they're not obviously going like, we'll only accept these words, but they are forcing you to use language they will accept.
Okay. I see it. I see what you're saying.
That creates neural pathways in your brain.
I see that.
They are gaming you. That's called operant conditioning.
You know what? You're right. Not only on the internet, but even just in political, what do they call it? Politically correct stuff.
Correct.
Like, oh, I don't want to say this, so I'll just say this.
Correct.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Cybernetics.
Cybernetics. Yeah. Yeah.
I find it, let's see, who's the dude that was in the news recently? Pavlovsky?
Yeah.
What is he? He's Rumble owner, I think.
Telegram, right?
No, Durov. Durov is Telegram. I think Pavlovsky is Rumble.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'll check here really quick, because I doubt there's very many prominent Pavlovskys in the world.
No, I was thinking something completely different. So I'm sorry.
No, that's a different Pavlovsky. We're not looking for a football player. We're looking for the Rumble dude. Let me add Rumble into the search. Come on, AI. Yeah, Chris Pavlovsky, founder and CEO of Rumble. Interesting that his name, because again, he owns a social media platform. Interesting that his name is Pavlovsky. Because if you remove the ski part, you just have Pavlov.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But social
Pavlov's
media
dogs.
is not operant conditioning.
Yeah. Pavlov's dogs. Is that what you're getting at? Pavlov's dogs?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm getting at. I would like to trace his heritage and find out if there's an intersection between those two. I would not be surprised if there is.
Yeah, neither would I. Yeah.
It's the same way Reed Hastings is a descendant of Edward Bernays.
Wow.
Who was himself related to Sigmund Freud.
Yeah.
Sigmund Freud's protege was Carl Jung.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the psychology of the human mind is, man, it's so vast and so intricate. And these guys, for hundreds of years, have been working on us to condition us to this point. And systematically, they've been doing this, and they've been writing about it, telling us all about it. But at this stage right now in 2024, where it's like, no, they could never do anything like that. They would never do anything like that. It's like, man, they wrote about this. You know, there's these books.
They could
They
never
tell
get
us,
that many people to keep a secret.
yeah,
They don't have
you know,
to. That has to be my least favorite counter argument.
what's that?
They couldn't get that many people to keep a secret.
Yeah.
Are you seriously that dense?
Well, they use different, you know, a lot of different tactics like compartmentalization. That's one of them. But yeah, you know, keeping this many secrets. Uh, yeah, I don't know what to say about that. Yeah.
Let's see. I'm just trying to see because I kind of checked out a little bit early today. Doesn't look like there were a whole lot of developments other than more joy coming from the Democratic side of the selection process. That looked like a lot of fun. Oh, there was the big interview last night. Did you catch any of that?
No, with who?
Kamala sat down with CNN and they grilled her for like an hour, and she had
Oh, really?
her buddy Tampon Tim beside her for emotional support the whole
They
time.
grilled her, right?
Yeah.
They grilled her.
Yeah, they grilled her.
Yeah. No, I didn't catch any of that. Yeah.
I'm still trying to find out. Matter of fact, Hotep Jesus was looking for this earlier too. He couldn't find it either. He was looking for like her official policy platform, like what she plans to do about stuff, and he couldn't find it. Like he was looking all over the interwebs for like almost an hour.
Yeah.
You know, trying all different types of search combinations and stuff, and it was just that it doesn't exist apparently, not on the interwebs.
Yeah, you know, so I was listening to Sam Tripoli. He just did a podcast with Ben Swan, and I like Ben Swan.
How was that one?
It was pretty good. And one of the things that they mentioned in there was Kamala versus like Michelle Biden. Okay, Michelle Obama. So Michelle Obama is very articulate. So she doesn't really have a platform to stand on. So you can ask her questions about certain issues and she can talk to them. Whereas Kamala, she can't stand on any of her positions. And so they were kind of just contrasting the two on that podcast. I thought that was kind of interesting that you just mentioned that like Kamala, she can't speak on anything. And whereas, and they talked about like the Clinton-Obama rivalry and stuff and why Kamala's there and they're endorsing Kamala rather than Michelle.
I know. I find that hilarious. Yeah. Absolutely hilarious. That's utter bullshit.
Yeah.
Absolute utter bullshit.
Yeah.
It's look, I don't doubt one bit that that there might be some there could even be friendly rivalry going on, right?
Yeah.
Like they've got like 50K riding on whether or not the big reveal of Big Mike happens this year or not. You know? Like it could be. We don't know. Here's what I do know about this class of people. They are united against the rest of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever petty squabbles they may have, but you know, among their own little fucking retarded inbred circle, means shit when it comes to eliminating us. Yeah. That is their priority. Make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Again, so it's a big club. We ain't in it.
Yeah. So Driz, let me ask you this question because you mentioned that. Now we all know the Cecil Rhodes Milner Association and how they first started off with rings within rings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I believe that because I think we
I
see
do
it.
too, because you can look around the world and see it in existence today.
Yeah. So these politicians, wherever at in the United States, whether it's the Senate, whether it's the Congress, whether it's the presidency, it's within this certain ring. Above that, there's another ring, and above
Mm-hmm.
that, there's another ring, and the rings are coming. The information is coming down. So when you're in these lower rings, and then you're in this lower ring of the politics and our supposed to be representatives, they don't really know. They just know what's coming down. They don't know the why. Okay, so they'll
Correct.
do their thing and they'll fight within themselves to like, let's depopulate the United States and bring in mass immigration and all this other kind of nonsense. But they're up at the top. There's this reason why it's coming down within that ring. Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense?
Yeah, absolutely. The lower levels don't have to be given a reason why.
Yeah. Nancy
That's
Pelosi
not
does not.
why
Yeah.
they're there. They are
Nancy
there to
Pelosi's.
execute on orders. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. AOC and Pelosi's. They're just playing the part.
Correct.
They get told what to do.
Correct.
The president, Joe
Again,
Biden,
I don't
Kamala
know how
get
many
told what
times
to do.
it has to be said.
Yeah.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez auditioned to be a member of Congress.
Yes,
Like,
that is
hello,
true.
ladies and gentlemen. Like, when are you going to realize that those motherfuckers on Capitol Hill are all butt ass naked?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't know. What is it even possible? Like, are we at the point where the average American has been so psychologically, chemically, emotionally, electromagnetically assaulted that they're just incapable of mounting a resistance?
Yeah, that's a tough question. Because when you ask that, like, are there people waking up? Yes. But are there still people much asleep? Absolutely. And even though they're not wearing masks on their face when they go to the store, as soon as a new fear comes out, they're going to do what they're told. And there are those that will just do it, mindlessly. And then there are those of us that will question, hey, wait a minute, what's going on? Um, to be honest, when you ask that question, like, are we at this point where they've so manipulated us and vaccinated us and poisonally toxined us to where we can't think anymore? I think we're at that point because they've talked about this in many of their books. They've
Mm-hmm.
talked about this. Bertrand Russell talked about it in the limits, or I'm sorry, the impacts of science on society.
Right.
The what was that document? The document Silent Weapon for Quiet Wars tells
Mm-hmm.
us that they want to dumb us down.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I
yeah,
mentioned in the Media Monarchy chat this morning, Rudolf Steiner, again, back at the turn of the century, the
yeah,
early 1900s, was saying, look, the theosophists are going to use these shots that they're going to call vaccines
yes,
to try and separate people from their humanity.
yes, mm-hmm.
That was 120 years ago.
Yes, it was. Yeah,
I mean, that just goes right back around to the beginning of the conversation, you know, generational plans.
yeah, generational
The
plans.
legacy that these people pass on to their children, more than just the money and the land and the power,
Yeah,
is the the crop of livestock that they're going to have to work with.
yeah, yeah. So Driz, think about this, and maybe I'm going a little bit too far off, but when you said that, that makes me think about generational, right? Generational, okay? Like these guys play the long game. So there's guys that have been planning this from the 1800s they're not going to be alive. They know they're not going to be alive. Kissinger's dead, okay?
Correct.
And Kissinger did so
As
much
far as we know.
damage. Yeah, but that guy's, let's just say he's gone, right? So he's never going to see this new world order that he planned out come to fruition, right? But they play this long game thinking that this idea, this ideology in their mind is going to live out. Okay. Now, there are those that think like that. And then there's just regular persons like you and I. We just think about our families. We think about our loved ones. We think about just the here and now. We can't think that far off. Okay. Now, one of the things
We
that I
can.
changed,
We just don't.
we just don't. So one of the things that I started changing my mindset on was that, so I'm going to school right now for acupuncture. Okay. And I thought, you know what? The things that I learned from acupuncture, the things that I know from welding, the things that I know from carpentry, the things that I know from just being a handyman, I want to pass it on to my kids. And that's going to be generational for them. I want my son and my daughter to know the history of acupuncture and true health and wellness. I want them to know how to, weld and do construction work and to measure and cut and build. I want them, that's the generational thing that I'm thinking I want to pass on to my kids.
Right.
So in a sense, I'm not planning evil for them. I'm planning goodness for them. And that's yeah.
Well, it's a better plan, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
I would think that you would want something good for your children. You know,
Absolutely. Yeah.
as opposed to my father who chose to pass along public accounting, or at
Okay.
least that was the attempt that was made. You know,
Yeah.
didn't really take. In case anybody was wondering. So
So
how
I
you
can't
doing,
hire.
Rob?
Yeah.
How you doing? What's on your mind?
Doing great
Oh wow,
out here.
you are in and
Yeah.
out, my man.
Yeah.
You must be in
Can you hear
a
me?
in a poor reception area.
Yeah, the internet sucks here. Cell service sucks here. Not a whole lot,
Oh wow,
but
looks like the views
all
are
right. I'm
great
cutting
though.
out then. Later, guys.
All right, have a good one, man.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to be cutting out here myself, Driz, but man, great show, great conversation. Man, I love the
Oh yeah,
music.
man.
Love the music. Keep doing your thing, man. I love it.
Thank you, man. We will after the week off, of course. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Take care, guys. Peace.
Have a good night, man. Ladies and gentlemen, there is still time for you to call in. Let's see, where are we at? About quarter past the hour. That means we got about 45 minutes to go. Let me get my audio fixed here so I'm not echoing in my own head. But again, if you need to know how to call in, it is very simple. Head over to the Liberty Radio Telegram channel, t.me/GTW Liberty Radio. The link is in the channel. You click that link, it brings you right into the stream, and you start letting us know what is on your mind. I don't really have a whole lot on my mind by Friday nights usually, which is, again, why I like to hear from you guys. I'm guessing Yona's probably out grinding somewhere. He might be at that new piano gig he was telling me about last night after we went off the air. It sounds pretty sweet. He was talking like he had to get a tuxedo and the whole nine for it. Apparently it's a pretty upscale establishment out there in Columbus, Ohio. I know. I was shocked too. I was like, what? They have places like that in Columbus? Are you sure? I mean, it is the high Iona, so, you know, he was probably high, but that's what he claims. But ladies and gentlemen, this is your final reminder that we will not be on the air next week in observance of the glorious federal holiday of joy. I'm assuming everyone has gotten the memo. We're supposed to take the entire week off, apparently. I'm not sure why, but it's supposed to give us joy, I guess. The direction wasn't really clear. Didn't make a whole lot of sense, but they kept repeating the word joy, so you know, I assume it's a good thing, right? I don't know. All right. Well, as we wait, let's see. I already listened to that. I don't know if I downloaded it though. I don't know if I. All right. Bear with me while I do a little bit of housekeeping, and we will get to some YouTube adventure roulette. I just have to make sure I have the link for the Media Bear track that we played earlier. All right. I got that, so we can start swinging then. Until somebody else calls in. Again, phone lines will remain open right up until the midnight hour, ladies and gentlemen. You still have time to call in and let us know what is on your mind tonight. Ooh, goodness, look at that. I'll probably have to fix that as we go forward. Let's find out what we're going to be listening to. Primus, no. Ooh, we got some Kingsley Dennis, the reality game. That's tempting. I don't think that's live anymore. I don't think you guys want Doom porn. We already played that Ween track. Ooh, Hulk Hogan versus Donald Trump from the Remix Brothers? No, I don't think so. Castle Rat? What the hell is Castle Rat? There's some very strange things in the YouTube suggestion. Dan, why would they suggest Dan Bongino to me? That makes absolutely no sense. I don't know what a Rari is. I've heard of it in this moment. Yeah, we heard Invincible the other night. Adolf Hitler, full speech in English. No, this is not bloody history. That is not what we do here. Ooh, George Carlin. I think that's a winner.
Something else I don't understand, motivation tapes, motivation books. What happened here? Suddenly everybody needs to be motivated? It's a fairly simple thing. Either you want to do something or you don't. What's the big mystery? Besides, if you're motivated enough to go to the store to buy a motivation book, aren't you motivated enough to do that? So you don't need the book. Put it back. Tell the clerk, fuck you, I'm motivated, I'm going home. I'm going home. And can anyone explain to me the need for 1 hour photo finishing? You just saw the fucking thing. How can you possibly be nostalgic about a concept like a little while ago? Another complaint, too many vehicles. There are some families in this country own entirely too many vehicles. You see them on the highway in an RV, but that's not enough for them. RV's not enough. Behind them, they're towing a motorboat, go-kart, dune buggy, dirt bike, jet ski, snowmobile, parasail, hang glider, windsurfing equipment, a hot air balloon, and a small two-man deep-sea diving bell. Doesn't anyone just take a fucking walk anymore? The only thing these people lack is a lunar excursion module. Too many choices, America. It's not healthy. Another abomination. White guys over 10 years of age who wear their baseball hats backwards. Listen to me. White guys, let me tell you something. You're never going to be as cool as black guys. It's not going to happen. You're white and you're lame. It's a fucking law of nature. Turning your hat around and learning a complicated handshake will not make you cool. And you black guys, since you started the whole thing, I'm going to let you stay with the hats a little bit longer, but I think really, once you qualify for Social Security, it's time to spin that motherfucker around to the front again. All right? Another tip for the men. The earrings, the thing with the earrings, it's over. It's been over for a long time. Doesn't mean anything anymore. It was supposed to piss off the squares. The squares are wearing them now. Doesn't mean anything. It's just fucking jewelry. Unless you have an earring with a live baby hanging from it, it's just jewelry. And I want you to know I'm in favor of self-mutilation and personal disfigurement. I've always said there's nothing like puncturing and perforating your skin in a dozen or so places in order to demonstrate your high self-esteem. When I see a young man decorating his scalp with a soldering iron, I say, there's a happy guy. Thinks highly of himself. And haven't we gone a little overboard with these colored ribbons for different causes? Every cause has its own colored ribbon now. Red for AIDS, blue for child abuse, pink for breast cancer, green for the rainforest, purple for urban violence. I got a brown one. You know what it means? Eat shit, motherfucker! Eat shit, motherfucker! And what can we do to silence these Christian athletes who thank Jesus whenever they win, never mention his name when they lose? Not a word. You never hear him say, Jesus made me drop the ball. The good Lord tripped me up behind the line of scrimmage. According to these guys, Jesus is undefeated. Meanwhile, these assholes are in last place. Must be another one of those miracles. And speaking of delusional people, what about a guy who hears a voice in his head tells him to kill his entire family, so he does it? Is this the only thing a voice in the head ever tells these people to do is to kill others? Doesn't a voice ever tell a guy, go take a shit on the salad bar at Wendy's? Doesn't a voice tell a guy to take out his dick on the merry-go-round once in a while? Well, some guys do take out their dicks on the merry-go-round, but usually it's their own idea. Something else I can do without: aftershave and cologne. And this disgusting shit that men put on their bodies. Just what I need in the elevator. Some guy standing next to me smells like a fucking pine tree. I said, go home and wash, you smelly prick. You smell like the urinal in a Portuguese cat house. God damn, guys are stupid. Guys are really fucking dumb. They think they're going to get laid with this stuff, you know. Oh, yeah, they put it on at home. Oh, boy, I'll get laid tonight. I'll get laid tonight. You don't get laid with green shit that comes out of a bottle, okay? And the only smell that's going to help you get laid might be your own natural scent. You have pheromones. It's a secondary sex characteristic. People in America, nervous about sex. They want to cover that up and disguise it. Guys in Europe, they know how to live. Guy gets in the elevator over there, he smells like a pile of dog shit. Those people are sophisticated. Getting pretty tired of these guys walking around in cowboy hats and cowboy boots. You ever see these jack-offs? Can't we kill some of these motherfuckers walking around in a fucking cowboy hat? Grown man. It's not even Halloween, for Christ's sakes. I say, hey, Tex, grow up and get yourself a wardrobe consistent with the century you're living in. Why do certain men feel the need to dress up as mythic figures? You don't see anyone walking around in a pirate costume, do you? When's the last guy you ran into had on a Viking outfit? Make-believe cowboys. Closest they ever got to a cow is when they stopped to take a piss at an Arby's. And camcorders. Here is technology gone berserk. Everywhere you go now, there's some dick, some yo-yo, some putz with a camcorder, and he is going to tape everything. Doesn't anyone in this country just stop and look at things anymore? Sort of take them in? Maybe even remember them? Is that just a strange notion? Does experience have to be documented and brought home and saved on a shelf? And do people really watch this shit? Are people's lives so bankrupt they sit at home looking at things they already did? And these guys are so intense, you know. It's always guys. They won't let women touch the cameras. It's a highly technical skill. Look through a hole, push on a button, big skill. And they all think they're Federico Fellini. You ever seen any of this shit? Low angles, zooms and pans, and it's the same ugly 3 children in every goddamn shot. All the George Lucas magic in Hollywood is not going to change the unfortunate genetic configuration on the faces of these children. Keep these unfortunate youngsters out of public view. Now, a lot of these, hold on a sec. A lot of these cultural crimes I've been complaining about can be blamed on the baby boomers. Something else I'm a little tired of hearing about. The baby boomers. Whiny, narcissistic, self-indulgent people with a simple philosophy. Give me it, it's mine! Give me that, it's mine! These people were given everything. Everything was handed to them. And they took it all. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And they stayed loaded for 20 years and had a free ride. But now they're staring down the barrel of middle-age burnout. And they don't like it. They don't like it, so they've turned self-righteous. And they want to make things hard on younger people. They tell them abstain from sex, say no to drugs. As for the rock and roll, they sold that for television commercials a long time ago. So they could buy pasta machines and Stairmasters and soybean futures. Soybean futures. You know something? They're cold, bloodless people. It's in their slogans, it's in their rhetoric. No pain, no gain. Just do it. Life is short, play hard. Shit happens, deal with it. Get a life. These people went from do your own thing to just say no. They went from love is all you need to whoever winds up with the most toys wins. And they went from cocaine to Rogaine. And you know something? They're still counting grams, only now it's fat grams. And the worst of it is the rest of us have to watch these commercials on TV for Levi's loose-fitting jeans and fat-ass Docker pants. Because these degenerate, yuppie, boomer cocksuckers couldn't keep their hands off the croissants and the Haagen-Dazs. And their big fat asses have spread all over and they have to wear fat-ass Docker pants. Fuck these boomers, fuck these yuppies. And fuck everybody, now that I think of it. Well, sometimes in comedy you have to generalize. Now, there's one thing you might have noticed I don't complain about. Politicians. Everybody complains about politicians. Everybody says they suck. Well, where do people think these politicians come from? They don't fall out of the sky. They don't pass through a membrane from another reality. They come from American parents and American families, American homes, American schools, American churches, American businesses, and American universities, and they're elected by American citizens. This is the best we can do, folks. This is what we have to offer. It's what our system produces. Garbage in, garbage out. If you have selfish, ignorant citizens, you're going to get selfish, ignorant leaders. And term limits ain't going to do you any good. You're just going to wind up with a brand new bunch of selfish, ignorant Americans. So maybe it's not the politicians who suck. Maybe something else sucks around here, like the public. Yeah, the public sucks. There's a nice campaign slogan for somebody. The public sucks. Fuck hope. Fuck hope. Because if it's really just the fault of these politicians, then where are all the other bright people of conscience? Where are all the bright, honest, intelligent Americans ready to step in and save the nation and lead the way? We don't have people like that in this country. Everybody's at the mall, scratching his ass, picking his nose, taking his credit card out of his fanny pack and buying a pair of sneakers with lights in them. So I have solved this little political dilemma for myself in a very simple way. On election day, I stay home. I don't vote. Fuck them. Fuck them. I don't vote. Two reasons I don't vote. First of all, it's meaningless. This country was bought and sold and paid for a long time ago. The shit they shuffle around every 4 years doesn't mean a fucking thing. And secondly, I don't vote because I believe if you vote, you have no right to complain. People like to twist that around, I know. They say, well, if you don't vote, you have no right to complain. But where's the logic in that? If you vote and you elect dishonest, incompetent people, and they get into office and screw everything up, well, you are responsible for what they have done. You caused the problem. You voted them in. You have no right to complain. I, on the other hand, who did not vote, who, in fact, did not even leave the house on Election Day, am in no way responsible for what these people have done and have every right to complain as loud as I want about the mess you created that I had nothing to do with. So I know that a little later on this year, you're going to have another one of those really swell presidential elections that you like so much. You'll enjoy yourselves. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm sure as soon as the election is over, your country will improve immediately. As for me, I'll be home on that day doing essentially the same thing as you. The only difference is when I get finished masturbating, I'm going to have a little something to show for it, folks. Thank you very much.
I actually heard that bit a couple of days ago as part of another series of clips from St. Carlin. Still funny. Still as funny as it was 2 days ago, and probably, what was that, 20 years ago? Maybe 25 years ago? I don't know. Not sure. Ladies and gentlemen, the phone lines are still open. You still have time to call in if you want to. You know, that is, I don't know. Maybe folks have already started their vacation week early. I suppose that's possible. You know, if you had some time built up and you want to use it before the whole fucking thing comes down, sure, why not? Go ahead and use that paid vacation time. Extend your glorious federal holiday of joy. It's just that much more joy. I'm not going to begrudge anybody their joy. Far be it from me, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, hell, I'd like to get out of here a little bit early. Start my vacay week early. You know, we're here 4 nights a week, rain or shine or snow or tornadoes and hurricanes and shit. Hopefully not earthquakes. We don't need earthquakes here. Not in the piney woods, ladies and gentlemen. So there is still time to call in tonight. If you've got something on your mind or maybe something on your chest that you need to get off, we're here for you. We will listen. Speaking of listening, there's got to be something better than the sound of my voice, right?
Rocking our way straight through the apocalypse. This is Liberty Radio.
Just let it go. you're boring. Don't care what you do, care what you say. Going down when you got to let the monster inside you. Let him come on out. Come on out and play. Step right back and watch me now. Oh yeah, show you how it's done. Stay right here with me now. Oh, till the damage is done. Step right back and watch me now. Oh yeah, can't change your mind. Stay right here with me now. Oh, till the damage is done. Till the damage is done. Stand by. You don't need a word today. Lost ain't shuffle. Make you everything okay.
Oxford, Massachusetts, and 3 neighboring towns have a reason for concern as mosquitoes carrying a potentially deadly virus called Eastern Equine Encephalitis, or Triple E, infected a resident who is now fighting for his life.
We don't want to see another human case of Triple E this year.
The rare but dangerous disease can cause swelling in the brain. There's no treatment and anyone can get infected. The death rate is as high as 30%.
Even if you do survive, usually there are long-term significant health impacts, neurological impacts.
Oxford has been declared a critical risk for Triple E, prompting health department officials to recommend a 6 p.m. curfew for outdoor activities, including club sports.
These are recommendations. They're not hard and stop requirements.
We are definitely nervous about it.
Sarah Fournier is also worried her children's sports seasons, football and cheer, could be jeopardized. But they're taking precautions by wearing mosquito repellent and long sleeve tops.
We can't stop life.
Can't stop, won't stop.
They need to get out there. They need to play. This is their time to be social with their friends and be a part of a team.
Now, Triple E symptoms usually begin between 4 to 10 days after being bitten by an infected mosquito. According to the CDC, now some of those symptoms can include fever, headache, and seizures. Nora?
This is such an interesting story. Tiffany Chan, thank you so much for bringing it to us.
I then spent 20 years writing it, from 45 to 65. In the meantime, I had written a shorter book, which 15 publishers had rejected, and I had set it aside. I wrote it the first time in the only summer I had off, which was 1942. Wrote it a third time, just dashed it off. And that is the book, The Evolution of Civilizations. It's only 279 pages.
One thing that intrigued, well, just last night my wife and I was talking about you, was the title of the book, Tragedy and
Hope. Yes. Now what it means is this. I think it is absolutely tragic. It is shameful, it is sinful that Western civilization is going to go down the drain. When I wrote that book, which is less than 10 years ago, I had hope that we could save Western civilization. I am extremely skeptical now that it can be saved. I think we're just about finished. It is shameful, it is sinful that Western civilization is going to go down the drain. When I wrote that book, which is less than 10 years ago, I had hope that we could save Western civilization. I am extremely skeptical now that it can be saved. I think we're just about finished.
Korma chaput, kajalot, and a yal kanokot, banabos, kabonkos, kabalos.
It is shameful, it is sinful that Western civilization is going to go down the drain. When I wrote that book, which is less than 10 years ago, I had hope that we could save Western civilization. I am extremely skeptical now that it can be saved. I think we're just about finished. It is sinful that Western civilization is going to go down the drain. When I wrote that book, which is less than 10 years ago, I had hope that we could save Western civilization. I am extremely skeptical now that it can be saved. I think we're just about finished.
أنا بنعرف كل سوداني يجي يسوي عشان نجيب تغيير في بلد بتاعنا وحكومة بتاعنا والناس بتاعنا. ما تكلي زول يستري تسويت بتاعك وحق بتاعك. سوي لزول يجي يخلص قبلية وبأكرم شهرية ويجي وفهد في بلدية 100%. زول بتاع جميع زول منه يصلح فيها شغلة بين أخوان يشوفوا كوكا
When I wrote that book, which is less than 10 years ago, I had hope that we could save our civilization. I am extremely skeptical now that we say it. I think we're just about finished. When I wrote that book, which is less than 10 years ago, I had hope that we could save our civilization. I am extremely skeptical now that we say it. I think we're just about finished.
Yes, feel the force. Feel. Oh, feel the force. Oh yeah.
This man never existed.
Grand Theft World.
Nor is anything he had to say worthy of your attention, and if you say otherwise, you are a paranoid conspiracy theorist.
Liberty Radio.
And deserve to be shunned by all of humanity.
Australia is slowly shifting towards being cash-free. More than $1 billion worth of notes have disappeared from circulation in the past 12 months. It follows the Commonwealth Bank's decision to start trialling cashless branches across Sydney. Economists say a cashless society will hurt criminals on the black market, but will make life more difficult for the elderly who rely on notes and coins.
It's an evil club, and you ain't in it, full of psychopaths who believe in eugenics. It's an evil club, and you ain't in it, full of psychopaths who believe in eugenics. It's an evil club, and you ain't in it, full of psychopaths who believe in eugenics. There's a war going on inside, no man is safe from. You can run, but you can't hide, cause the war's on your health, so beware the lies. Your endocrine system is under attack, that's a fact. In the past, we'll show you what you need to see through the veil of what they don't want you to see. It's a silent slaughter, they poison the water, and the war starts early. Look at what we feed our toddlers, sugar and more sugar. It's never on the news how we're hurting ourselves with fake food, but it's planned. It goes back a long ways to the Royal Society and Edward Bernays. It's control, that's the goal and the plan, to make Mulder known, all of modern man. They really have always thought they were gods, and they planned it all in the clubs and in the lodge. The Lunar Society, where they called themselves lunatics, to the 1900s. Rise of eugenicists, he developed a method for classifying fingerprints. It said his racist science all made sense. Sir Francis Galton, what an honorable man, the father of eugenics, and his racist is a clan. He was Darwin's cousin, and influenced by his work and help pave the way to the rise of laws that were passed that got people sterilized, cause these maniacs care so much about our lives. No lie, no hype over here. The Supreme Court ruled they could do it, then they cheered. The same scientists who were worshipped and loved, who sat up on the throne high above, like gods they judged and decided who could breed. They castrate them and give them a shot to kill the genes. No more kids for you, don't you dare call them cruel. You're not as smart as them, know your role, you're a fool. Their prestigious school that they went to intertwines them all. The who's who's like the Carnegie Institution. Don't you dare but question the final solution, like Charles Davenport and his eugenics views, who influenced Germany before World War II. He had two editorial positions that he wrote for and spread his eugenicist mission. The Nazis agreed and molded the path on American eugenics. Psychopaths, but as I said, it all goes way back to the Royal Society and more maniacs. So be careful when they say to bow down and obey, and not get caught up in the hype that they sell in the craze. Cause 60,000 Americans were sterilized and it was all legal. Just open your eyes, stop, think and learn who you're dealing with. And one of the worst isn't even a scientist, he's a bitch and a coward. And he smiles as he says that if you don't listen to him, your kids will be dead. Just like those demons that came before. He claims that he cares, but he declared a war. He's a bitch. Bill Gates is not a god. I'm appalled when they applaud and worship his cause. He's a modern day Nazi, eugenicist. I'll say it again. Bill Gates is a bitch. It's sick. And a part of all we see, the fear of disease and the war on liberty. Your mask won't protect your neck from the blade that they'll draw on you. If you question what they say, you can't think for yourself or own yourself. To them your mind ain't yours, and neither is your health. You can't think for yourself or own yourself. To them your mind ain't yours, and neither is your health. You can't think for yourself or own yourself. To them your mind ain't yours, and neither is your health. You can't think for yourself or own yourself. To them your mind ain't yours, and neither is your health. It's an evil club, and you ain't in it, full of psychopaths who believe in eugenics. It's an evil club, and you ain't in it, full of psychopaths who believe in eugenics. It's an evil club, and you ain't in it, full of psychopaths who believe in eugenics. It's an evil club, and you ain't in it, full of psychopaths who believe in eugenics.
Yeah, I know. That was sloppy. I got surprised, man. Hold on. Hold on, Zipper man. I'm coming. I'll get there. Bam. Welcome to Liberty Radio, Zipper man. I'm not
Oh,
going to do your
man.
nameplate, though, because there's only like 5 minutes left.
No, no worries. I didn't know if that was automatic or whatever it was. This is pretty damn surreal.
Right on. Well, welcome to Liberty Radio.
This is cool. When you get into Streamlabs, there's like a whole widescreen view of you, and I feel like I'm in your studio. I'm in your, I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's also you look
I have
farther.
no idea what you're looking at either, so hopefully I'm fully clothed.
You are, yeah.
All right.
No, I didn't know you had a lamp there and everything.
Oh, there's
But
all kinds of shit here that the people at home can't see. Yeah.
I'm
I'm
really
sneaky like that.
I keep every time I've pictured doing this, I kept imagining. Ideally, I'd love to use the camera, but I don't know if I kind of screwed myself. I'm working at a state institution, uh, and they're pretty damn woke,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so I guess whenever I imagine it, it's like, well, shit. I guess I'll probably. I mean, it probably wouldn't be a big deal, I don't think, but either way, this is, I've been wanting to try this for forever, or at least for like the last year and a half or so. I've been really tuning into all the different channels out there.
So what else
And
do you tune into? Because I see you in the AM wake up chat in the morning.
I'm all over the place, really. Like for a good, a good 2 years or so, I was like strictly just asynchronous podcasts, these episodes that were already recorded, whether it was Fireside Chats or Tinfoil Hat, or I mean, it was like a whole really Come Town and all this other comedy stuff. And then after a while, like they helped me kind of get the red pill going, just because they showed the absurdity and all the sensitivity happening in society right now in the last 10, 15 years that I didn't quite perceive from that humor aspect for a long time. I took it pretty seriously and was kind of a, I don't know, I was really that was all about the cause of compassion and stuff that is really twisted. Like they've really guilted people into feeling this way. And I tried to stick with the comedy shows and all, and they're fun, but they get real apathetic real fast. And then I started discovering you guys. I started discovering Steve and everybody else, and it's like I can't even go back to those old shows anymore because we have fun here. It's funny here as is, but it's a whole range of other things, and we're talking about real stuff. We're not just bringing in random comedians or anything. It's like it's constant. I've never felt this informed. I've never felt this connected, but don't mean to get new agey at the same time there.
No, that is that is exactly the response that I think we're all trying to elicit from every member of the audience.
Yeah.
I don't want people to have a reason to go back to watching television or going back to the movie theater or going back to listening to, good Lord, terrestrial radio. I don't want people doing that because that doesn't fix anything. That's going back to the drug dealer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been able to really get into the thought of watching films I mean, some films are still decent. Like Mark Steves interviewed Steve Poikonen about 2 months back, and Mark had brought up how do you get into like pop culture or entertainment, which I haven't been into for years anyway, but how do you get into that knowing how twisted all of it is? And Steve, he's able to apply a level of distance and still enjoy something for the sake of it. But I don't think you'll ever catch me having like favorite anybody anymore in terms of the larger culture out there. It just has become a joke. But Hey, I know it's 11:50. Well, just became midnight, and I know you were going to be gone for the whole next week. And I was like, I better try now before I kind of puss out for like the next 7 days and don't try this on any other shows.
Well,
But
hey, you got through.
hell
That's what
yeah,
counts. And it was definitely
yeah.
good to have you on.
Oh, I loved it, man. This is fun. But I hope I'll try to. The whole time I'm like, if I ever do this, I better come with some substance, and that's sort of what's caused me to delay things for the longest time. I mean, I could at least put a little profile icon up there or something, but that's all small stuff. That's not the stuff that really matters, of course.
Yeah. What
But
really matters is what you bring to the table, which is your unique perspective on the world and the insanity that we're all being forced to suffer through. That to
absolutely,
me is what the most valuable contribution is, because that is the heart of Liberty Radio. It's everybody having the opportunity to lend their voice to the conversation, no matter what they have to say.
hell yeah. I mean, we've seen viewers split off and have their own shows and everything countless times now, and it's just beautiful. But Drizzle, I know it's over the time now. It's really been an honor, man.
All right. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for calling in.
Oh yeah,
And do it again.
I'm wired to the max. I could do this for a whole nother hour, but yeah, I'll wait till I'll wait till 8 days or so, or however long.
Right on.
You
Well,
stay well, and you have a beautiful break out there. I hope it really feels like a rest time for you.
I'm going to be working the whole week, but I appreciate you saying that. I really do.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, next Friday, I keep forgetting to mention this tonight. Next Friday, I'll be on the third rail with Nature
All
Boy
right.
and whoever else he's got scheduled. Hopefully, it's not like fucking Clint Russell and his buddies. That would be a nightmare. But yeah, should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, man. That's gonna be getting everybody together at that point. I think everybody will have been in the same chat room with each other, despite whatever the channel. But
It's quite possible. Quite possible.
good stuff.
Yeah. And as for everything else, ladies and gentlemen, we will be returning to the air on September 10th. So no regular Liberty Radio broadcast next week. Again, this is your final reminder. Please don't blow up my phone on Tuesday night with your request. We won't be on the air. But until September 10th, let's see. Yeah, we are officially on the other side of midnight. So we'll go ahead and we'll maybe for the first time on a Friday night, we'll actually play the real outro.
Oh,
although you won't be able to hear it, Zipper Man. Sorry.
That's all right. I'm kind of somewhere in the bridge.
That's all, folks.
Grand Theft World Liberty Radio.
I'm not even high yet. I'm talking. But hey, you take her easy.
Independent spirits you can barely hear what they're saying. Truth ain't getting on like shampoo on an airplane. Propaganda's everywhere, constantly on replay. All the hits all the time, back to back on relay. We're really where it lives. Make them hear the records we play. Build your own station, become your own DJ.
Good night, dear listeners, and God bless you all.